this fucking black shit. See that?
Yeah.
Just smeared on my fingers.
It's just funny because the people here were black.
It's the juice. What is this shit? Let's fuck shit up. Health and happiness, everyone. Welcome to the Strength and Motion Show, an online experience curated specifically for the members and fans of Strength and Motion Academy. If you haven't heard of our space before, we are a 24/7 gym in Midvale, Western Australia, and our goal is to provide a space where people can build a strong and mobile body using a functional and holistic health approach to training and life. If this is your first time listening to the show, then thank you for tuning in, and I strongly encourage you to get stuck into our first 5 episodes. These first 5 episodes are a complete deep dive into hashtag the functional way, which is our 4-pillar approach to achieving health and fitness mastery. As experienced health and fitness coaches ourselves, we have identified movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress as the 4 key areas to always prioritize in order to live healthy and happy. You can do so by simply scrolling to the beginning of this episode list or search the Strength and Motion Show on YouTube and Facebook. Today, we are taking an inside look to the world of fit people, the people who have quote unquote made it. Oftentimes, when we take on a new assignment, we need help getting started. It's always been helpful to be able to see someone else's assignment once it's finished. We get to see how they approach the task and what their final product looked like. And that's what this episode is all about, discussing the lives of people who are seen as fit, the people who are quote unquote there, the people who are looked up to, the people who have been seen to be the people that we are inspired to be like, who are our mentors. Hopefully it's the people behind the microphones, including Navar Paul.
Wait, I've made it. Quote unquote there.
Quote unquote, Navar is there. Hopefully is there.
Yeah.
How are you? How you going?
Good. I'm well. Day 30 of the 90 days of carnivore. And the reason why I share that is because I think it's on topic to what we're discussing today in a degree of...
it is a bit, yeah.
Yeah, because as we were talking about before leading into the podcast, we're talking about the mindset of individuals, people that are achieving success in health and fitness journey, and people that are struggling with that for whatever reason mentally.
Yes.
And as we were mentioning, it's for us, and I think it's also a development of time. We've built ourselves, so our capacity to do things is increased, so we could achieve results quicker. But within the 30 days, I'm down to 11% body fat. I was like 15 point something after my operation because I couldn't. Yeah, so thick.
15.
15, yeah. Which obviously is a joke because 15's
good.
15's good.
Yeah.
But to be at 11% in 30 days is quite cruisy. It's quite easy for me, to be honest. It wasn't an issue at all.
Word.
I'm actually quite surprised because I didn't really try too hard. But the reason why I share that is because we're going to discuss that in today's topic, and the reasons why I think it's easier for people like Josh and I or other people that have achieved their goals, and it's because they've achieved a level of mindset or way of being that allows them to find success.
Yeah.
And that's why I think we're quite successful in this space as well.
Yeah, nice. Carnivore it up.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend to everyone, but if you want to check out my carnivore journey, check me out on Instagram.
Check him out. It's always worth a shot, I think, on that note.
The carnivore?
Just trying it, just doing a diet for the sake of doing the diet.
From what I'm understanding, experiencing, and researching, I think keto carnivore could be extremely beneficial to a lot of people, especially because the amount of individuals that are either diabetic or pre-diabetic and dealing with insulin resistance or other diseases, autoimmune disorders, gut issues, all sorts of issues that can be corrected, not just by increasing good nutrients from good meat like grass-fed beef and eggs, but also the elimination of things from our diet, especially carbs. So a small period of ketosis where you're not having any carbs could be really beneficial to someone that's dealing with insulin resistance or diabetes, pre-diabetic, or a lot of body weight. So that's kind of where I'm leaning towards utilizing this in the future, is a stint of time being really strict with like a ketosis carnivore. I don't think the longevity's there. Like, I think there's a lot of benefit from having some carbs, especially certain fruits. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out and talk about on my Instagram. So
yeah, that's cool. It's been fun watching it as well.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad. I'm getting really good feedback for it.
Yeah, that's good.
What about yourself? How you doing?
Trying to buy some new shorts actually.
From carnivore to shorts.
Yeah, carnivore to
shorts.
Yeah, it happened last time. I don't know. Maybe I'm the problem. You know,
With short buying.
It's just dating in general. You know, it's like when someone's asked for the dating advice and be like, "Do you think you're the problem?" But I had this every year.
It's always you, by the way.
It's always me.
Not just you. I mean,
everyone. Everyone. It's you're the reason I can't find my shorts. Basically, my favorite pair of shorts, they don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
Fun fact, actually. My favorite hoodie was that New Balance hoodie, and my favorite shorts are the New Balance shorts. So I just realized New Balance makes some of my favorite clothes, but they fucking stopped making them.
Oh, okay.
So now I need to find a new pair of like black shorts that I can use for training and for work at the gym that works with the coaching outfit. I just want to buy some new shorts anyway, get some fresh fit. But then, so now I'm experimenting, just buying all the different shorts, and I've bought 2 pairs of shorts, and they're pretty good, but they just ain't it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, that's in the material world, and on the other world, have you heard of the 4 Noble Truths of Buddhism?
Yeah.
I only found out about. I was actually listening to Ram Dass lately.
Oh.
After our conversation about existentialism and the meaning of life, but he talked about suffering and talked about in Buddhism and how Buddhism
is that where the first truth is life is suffering?
Yeah.
And the second one's like, but there is a way or something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think it's to do with things are temporary. That suffering always passes.
Yeah.
But also suffering always. It will come back, and it's actually the finding the beauty within that allows you to, live a good life. You know? And I think that's where I've been getting a little stuck at the moment is that as pressure has then been relieved based on how we are in life and how our business is going, and I'm less stressed these days. In the absence of stress, I'm like, oh, finally, I don't have to suffer anymore. Like I don't have to live with that anxiety. I can sleep deeply at night. Also, side note, 3 biggest HRVs ever.
Nice.
I woke up with a 200 HRV today.
Damn.
And it's normally like in the low 100s. So big week of HRVs as I'm, feeling a bit more fulfilled. But that was interesting listening to about just being at peace with the fact that suffering is a law of the universe, like there's like life is with suffering. That's what life is. And so I'm like, oh, that's why I can't find good shorts because I'm not suffering enough. No, I'm kidding. That's the lesson.
It has to come out somewhere.
Yeah. I've got to get the perfect shorts. I have to suffer to get to the perfect shorts.
Or you're pretending that's so.
I'm pretending. Just buying the wrong shorts. Just buy a skirt. Oh, these shorts don't fit again.
There's no suffering anywhere else.
Oh, now I have to buy another skirt. I mean shorts. So yeah, philosophically, the deep stuff's been helping lately. Listening to some more philosophy has helped me like reground myself and kind of get clear on where I want to go.
Yeah, lovely.
Be happy about the grind.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. What I was talking about, just training more. I'm like, I think I'm ready to train more because I just felt like I needed to escape from it, but I was creating more suffering by trying to escape from the fact that there is suffering.
Yeah.
So, makes sense.
Yeah.
Life's a lot easier. And then I woke up with a better HRV. So maybe I'm just holding my breath in my sleep. So anyway, listeners, welcome to the show. Today, the goal of this episode is to kind of peel back the layers of the curtains, peel open the curtains of what is the world of the elite, and also help you get clearer on how close you can be to being elite, and also how close you don't need to be elite. There's a lot of things that the elite are doing that we don't need to do, but there also are a lot of things that the elite are doing that we also should do, which is what makes them elite. What this episode is here to help you identify is to filter out the things that you need now and help you understand what are the things that you need later. And that's the goal of today. So into the lives of fit people. We live in the world of social media where ads and marketing messages are in our pockets almost 24/7. We're constantly being subconsciously seduced. We are constantly being subconsciously seduced and encouraged to buy, spend, and push our time, energy, and money into buying shorts. To push our time, energy, and money into things that people are promising the world to us. Buy my shit, buy my program, join my fucking gym, join our challenge, and we'll promise you the world. And sometimes we need help identifying what do we do and what don't we do. And there's helping you clear those filters. So in the fitness world, we're promised things like shakes and challenges and really fast results. And despite sometimes fast results being really able to be achieved, they're not necessarily the best result for longevity and long-term results. So this is important to cover because a lot of the work that we do is actually done outside of the gym. If you're someone that would like to lose weight, if you're someone who would like to run further, if you're someone who would like to be more mobile, whatever physical change, expansive growth you want to have within your health, your fitness, there is a lot that you actually have to do outside of the gym that helps you.
What?
Yeah.
The other 23 hours of the day you have to do stuff.
Help you get consistent.
8 hours of that is sleeping, hopefully.
Exactly right. So foundationally, Nav, as far as just your general health and fitness goes, like what are the general foundational habits that we would just be giving, say, someone in like our 6-week challenge or our 30-day challenge or our 12-week challenge where we're just trying to like lay some fresh pavement for people? What are the general habits that everyone should be doing no matter what?
Yeah. So these are the foundational ones that pretty much go to every single client at SMA or our clients. And the first one's hydration, as you drink some water. But we identify firstly...
Electrolytes, actually.
Even better.
Double tabs in here for the show.
If we get people into electrolytes or like magnesium, which is an electrolyte, but a specific magnesium for sleep, that could be a benefit. But
being hydrated.
Focusing on the foundation of hydration. And ideally, we want anywhere from 3 to 4 liters, depending on the individual. Like if you're a smaller female, then you might want to be in the smaller end, even towards 2.5 liters. If you're a larger male, you could even push towards 5 liters. And it's also very specific to the individual, their food habits, and also their exercise habits. But water's number one. So we figure out where they're at and we recommend hydration. Then secondly would be food right off the bat. And obviously this is all outside of exercise. Exercise is like a given when people come to the gym, right? And people know they have to move. So it's like you've got to exercise, do your resistance training for an hour 3 times a week, and then 2 to 3 cardio sessions. And that normally is sufficient for people. But outside that, hydration, nutrition, and we normally focus on protein. Like firstly, getting in enough protein. Ideally, we want to aim for the higher end of about 2 times your body weight in kilograms of lean body weight, for instance. So if you're 150 kilos and you want to be 100 kilos, work off the 100 kilo mark, I would say. 300 grams of protein is probably a bit too much for you, especially if you're trying to lose weight. But you could start at the lower end. Like if someone comes through not eating much protein, then you could start off with 1 to 1.5 times your body weight. But protein second. Second after hydration, right? What else?
So it's all the holistic way: nutrition, sleep, and stress.
Literally all the things we already talk about.
Yeah. Hit your nutrition targets, prioritize protein. Have your prioritize your protein. What was the other nutrition habits?
Also, like preparing your environment, right? That's something that we talk about a lot. It's prepare your food, get your
be intentional.
Be intentional with your shopping list, and when you go shopping, be intentional with the poor food you eat and buy. And by poor, I mean more low nutrient dense foods like ice cream or chocolate or what have you. Like it's okay to have sporadically at times, but definitely we have to work with our clients on eliminating that or setting up the environment to make it more difficult to reach for. That's probably a big one for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to share a quick story around nutrition in a second, but as basically what I've made my notes around my laptop here is like movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. If you're listening to this show for the first time, as I mentioned at the very intro, your first 5 episodes of the Holistic Way of this podcast / hashtag the functional way, we talk about the foundational habits in there, and that's the foundational habits that everyone should do. What I wanted to just quickly add on is that I've just had 2 clients start, the ones that you met yesterday, they've got the wedding coming up. They're getting married together.
October 25th or something.
October 25th.
Hey, look at that.
It's a Friday. And then with their nutrition, when I did their phone consult, so for context, I did a phone they found me, I did a phone consult with them, and then I booked them in for a session like 3 or 4 days later. And when I was in the phone consult, before I've even met them, I'm like, can you just make sure that this Sunday you put into your calendar like just 2 hours just to get on top of your nutrition? I'm like, I don't even know what I'm going to tell you to put in there, but I'm like, is this a viable day? I'm like, Sunday, many people go to church. Our church is the kitchen / the market / the grocery store. Is that ideally on a Sunday you just allocate a portion of your week or your day or some time to be intentional about what food am I going to need for the week and just getting prepared, getting organized. And so I share that story because without even knowing what food that I'm going to get people to eat, or what food I'm going to be needing to eat, I know that I'm allocating that time to just consider it and think about how I'm going to navigate my food for the week moving forward.
Yeah.
And for the record, like people that are super experienced, they also then get better at thinking about their training as well.
Yeah.
And, for beginners, when it comes to training, like it is obviously almost imperative that you have a training plan. However, just being consistent as a beginner can still get you results, and you can still be a little bit more unstructured, whereas the more experienced people will have to have a slightly more structured training program, and sometimes, depending on their goals, a more slightly structured meal plan as well, which means that time is already in there to consider. Most people that are quote unquote high performers or have busy lives, they spend a bit of their time on their Sunday usually just preparing their week in advance. And I think that's a good segue to talk about like the transition from like beginner habits into the people that are the more experienced. As you kind of progress on that journey of just being a complete beginner to being more experienced, you start to see people being more intentional and more deliberate and more refined, where they are spending more time planning their nutrition and their meal prep, and they're spending more time planning their week. And partially because there's more to fit in. You might be training as a beginner 2 or 3 times a week, but then as a more advanced person, more experienced, you might be training 4, 5, 6 days a week, or having that extra recovery activity in there as well. So what I want to share is in terms of the habits and lifestyle, a lot of the things actually are similar when you compare the people that are doing the right things, the beginners and the more experienced, but the intensity or the volume at which people do it increases as people get more experienced. More experienced people just train harder, train more, generally have maybe 1 or 2 more recovery things. Like they do need to do an ice bath or a sauna every single week, but beginners that are doing ice baths every day, you're more than welcome to, and they definitely do help, but they're not really the exact thing that's going to have the most impact. And that's also what we want to share with you, is that a lot of the trends on social media these days are kicking off, and people are doing them without really understanding is like, what's the most important thing? So, anything you wanted to add to that in terms of the experienced habits, Nav?
Yeah. So if we're diving into the habits of the mindset, right? So landing the plane in regards to preparation, the difference between the beginner or the unsuccessful, right? So not even whether a beginner or not. The people that actually achieve a result also are preparing time and space to do the work. And we would experience that a lot with new clients and new members. They will come in and say, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. And then when you ask them, okay, what days and times you're going to get to the gym, they have not even prepared themselves to set that time. And the individuals that set that time, they prepare themselves. They like this morning, I'm going to go to the gym for this time. I need to have my clothes ready. I need to go to bed by this time to wake up at this time, have my food, everything ready for work. The people that do that have greater success. So it's not just preparation in food, but it's preparation in time and space for exercise, preparation in space for you to do active recovery, space for you to even eat your food. And that's one thing as well. People that are successful in their health and fitness journey set boundaries at work around lunchtime. That's something that I've always been comfortable with, because I know how important my health and fitness is. Also, I know that those breaks are there because it's been proven that taking a break creates more productivity. We didn't create the corporation idea of tea breaks and lunch breaks. So it's crazy to me that people would sacrifice their own health and well-being not to eat lunch, to get caught up in working all the time. But successful people in health and fitness will set that boundary. They know what they need to do to look after themselves. They have that mindset, and they'll set those preparations and boundaries in place to make sure that gets done, whether it is within food, nutrition, exercise, sleep, or even journaling.
Absolutely.
Visualizing and spending time looking at themselves and their goals and what they want to achieve. That's probably like the biggest habit. I would say it's probably a great habit, is like the intention, like you mentioned, and the preparation across all borders.
I like that. I called it the other day, I called it general time. And I actually like it because it's a bit of a play on words, and because general time generally general sounds general. But what I refer to as general is like the general, like the commander, the military commander is the person that stands there and has, like a map of the battlefield, and he takes time on a regular basis to really think about where he is, where everyone is, where are they going, why are they going, and in order to be a general, you need to have times where each week you're actually looking at the battlefield, the strategy, whatever, but you're also just checking on it on a regular basis as well. And so that's what I mean by general time, having moments where you put in your day or your week where you put your general's hat on and be like, all right, what the fuck are we doing? Where are we going? Why are we doing this? And what's actually important, and really take time to review things. And that really is part of that, the attitude of living intentionally versus living habitually, which is what old mate's quote is. Nowdy.
Yes.
Yeah, Nowdy's quote.
Yeah.
Which before I was going to, damn it, that was a well-timed segue, but I'm not ready to move on yet. I was going to segue because I was like, that's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on some supplements, because supplements are also really easy to get caught up with. I've actually been getting ads from seeing all these pro athletes drink these new electrolytes, because I've been looking at electrolytes, and Dr. Hydrate, I've been getting their ads, and they also look really good. But I keep seeing all these pro athletes and these like elite marathon runners and endurance runners and cyclists and triathletes, and they're like, oh, I drink Dr. Hydrate, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, fuck, if they're drinking it, I want to drink Dr. Hydrate. But then I remember, I'm like, fuck, this is just marketing. It's just them. Like, these athletes are just getting paid to film these ads. And so, like, I have to remember they were already a pro athlete before they got sponsored by Dr. Hydrate. All athletes get or they're elite before they start getting sponsored. And so, but sometimes I get caught up thinking that those are the products that I also need to buy in order to get to that level, but it's just completely not. But in saying that, what are the supplements that we would recommend a beginner, and what are some things that are kind of good for everyone, that are good for now, and maybe other ones that can be left for later?
Yeah. So I think firstly, if you were to get your blood test done and find out whether you're like B12 or iron deficient, they're probably the two major ones. Outside of that, as a base, magnesium, vitamin D, even possibly fish oil. But some of these ideas are changing on me now. But I think for the everyday individual that doesn't have major control over their nutrition, funny enough, supplements that are basic, like a fish oil or vitamin D or magnesium, are probably even more important than ever, to be honest.
And those are quite cheap as well. Cheap and very accessible.
And the reason for those is because they're all, like, magnesium is really good for the central nervous system, the muscles, for sleeping. Vitamin D is great for energy, calcium absorption and bone density and bone health, cardiovascular health, and then omega-3, same. A lot of cardiovascular health. Cognition, brain function, omega-3, EPA, DHA from omega-3 is really important. I would probably say they're the main three. I can't really... Creatine maybe for something, like creatine's cheap and easy to take.
Creatine's good for training. Electrolytes, love electrolytes.
Electrolytes are fun. I like electrolytes. I don't know too much about them to speak like...
Even just like a small amount of electrolytes every day, because people should be exercising regularly. We're encouraging people to exercise regularly, and so you don't have to scale electrolytes all the time, but definitely getting some electrolytes in, just like those really easy basic effervescent tablets you just pop into a glass of water. Just a couple of those a week would be nice as well. And then just drink to hydration, or drink to feeling, really, as far as electrolytes go. And I would also throw in an adrenal support as well. Big on adrenal support, or something to help enhance your sleep / enhance your also your nervous system via relaxing it.
So that's stuff like ashwagandha or theanine.
Ashwagandha, theanine would be good. I guess magnesium, I wouldn't call it an adrenal support. Magnesium definitely comes into the mix of that, and is often in adrenal support thing. So just any sort of adaptogenic herb, which ashwagandha is the most popular one. And lion's mane, I'd throw lion's mane in there.
Some
as
good
well.
mushrooms,
some mushrooms. Stuff. Probably, from my understanding, lion's mane is maybe probably the most essential one. And then everyone else, all the others are still like really, really good as well. But you could probably get away with not having them as well. So that's supplements. Let's do a quick little camera reset, and then we're going to go into our next segment, which is the attitude and mindset of the humans.
Let's do it.
Let's hit me with a mystery sound. Nav.
We got the volume up. Let's do the purple.
Blank. Next one.
Nothing.
Boring.
Ace and shade in the cup, motherfucker. OTI.
Oh, damn, that was a bit aggressive. Sorry, guys.
Never heard that one.
Love and peace over here.
All right. Well, on that, we should have blurped it out. Ready?
It's ace and shade in the cup, motherfucker. TI.
Yeah, you got it. I'm impressed.
All right, we'll be back in a second. All right, so we're back and we're rolling into attitude and mindset. So it's often not what you do, it's how you do it. People that are masters at what they do are like that because they do things with intention. They are deliberate about their choices and they are constantly paying attention to where they are and why they are going there, quote unquote, the general time. This is all important to know because it's essential. Your attitude and why, your why as in your reasoning, why you do things, your attitude and why are what drive your behaviors. Your attitude dictates the good days and the bad days, and how quickly you learn will determine how often you repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Nav, what are some mistakes that you found yourself repeating over and over and over again as a result of your attitude and mindset?
One that comes to mind is the pushing too hard, funny enough.
Fuck, that was mine.
But I think that isn't, I think everyone learns that to some degree, but not always to health and fitness, not to training. I know a lot of people that train but don't push themselves hard enough. So I think that one's unique to me in regards to training, and unique to you as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I did a lot. And I would even say I still fall into that umbrella more so than not. And that's had its own negatives of also not recovering well enough and looking after my sleep correctly. That's one I underestimated. Even nutrition I underestimated in regards to recovery. And I think that all came down to like taking things slower, like actually rest and digest and more mobility and taking care of myself. Like more of the recovery funny enough probably is the thing that I underestimated.
Yeah, all right. Less is more in those instances.
Yeah.
I really rate that. I've actually found oops, just walked away from the microphone. I actually found I'm definitely a bit similar to that as well. I found a habit that I've had is I rush into things, into big decisions as well. I definitely mistook I think I took speed too literally, and tried to rush into things, but I realized I'm definitely probably going too slow for my likings, but I understand that I'm learning. I talk about that, I felt like I've been struggling with motivation, but a big part of that is I actually am partially motivated, but I'm not willing to just like jump straight back into hardcore work because I'm like, is the most strategic decision? So I'm really learning how to make slower decisions because in the long run, they are faster because I'm making less but more powerful and more intentful decisions about where I put my time, where I put my energy, rather than being like, let's do this, let's do that, let's do this. It's more like really thinking, okay, why am I going to do this thing, and how long is this thing actually going to take, and how much resources is this going to take from me, and what am I going to get back from it, and is this worth it now, or do I do this later? And so I am requiring more time to consider all my options, and learning to sit with that is quite uncomfortable sometimes because I'm like, I just want to fucking go do shit. But then when I'm doing shit, I'm like, I'm wasting my fucking time again. I'm doing the wrong shit again. I'm like,
Yeah.
But that's a lesson that's taken me time to learn. And let's talk about some actual some things for the people. What are some mindset and kind of is attitudinal a word? No, it's not.
I don't think
attitude. So. What are some attitude like? What are some things to people's character that we would observe in the fit and successful people versus the people that are struggling? What's some things that we would notice?
Well, I like the learning mindset and curiosity.
Yes.
Especially this year, a big topic that seems to be coming up, that maybe it's because I'm really attracted to it, so I'm seeing it everywhere, is the conversation about failure and being okay with failing. And it was a quote that I think it was from because I'm listening to the CEO, the Diary of a CEO.
Stephen Bartlett.
Yeah. And it might be from that, but the quote was by someone that said, if you really want to succeed, then you need to fail twice as much as you succeed, because that's how you learn. That's how you experience. You put yourself into situations. And I think it was even Ryan, our old coach, who said that if to succeed on a macro scale, you need to fail on a micro scale. And if you don't fail on those micro scales moving up to the macro, then you won't even reach the macro. The macro is not a reality. And so if you come at it from that place of mindset and curiosity, which even he uses Tiger Woods in the book as an example of where I think it was like 18 or super young, and he won a competition or something crazy and is a prodigy, but then he lost 18 months in a row because he changed his swing style. And everyone said to him, like, just stick to the swing style and you'll win. He goes, no, well, it's not. Winning doesn't always mean you're learning. Winning doesn't always mean you're getting better. Sometimes you need to fail, you need to lose to get better. And I think if you really open yourselves up to the mindset of learning and being curious, then it allows you to be more open to the gym or to doing something like a carnivore diet, just because you're not attached to whether it's going to go right or wrong. The intention behind it is getting better and learning and improving. So that's a big one for me, especially for this year. I'm really focusing on that.
Is that a Tiger Woods story? Is that Tiger
Woods?
Woods?
Yeah, Tiger Woods. Yeah. It's in the Diary of a CEO.
Right. Is it in his book?
That. It's in the book that he talks about Tiger Woods'
cool.
experience. Yeah.
I actually didn't know that, but I fucking love that.
Yeah, crazy. Like everyone, his family, his manager, everyone around him was like, don't do it because you're better off sticking to your swing style. And he goes, well, long term, I think it will benefit me. And the quote was, if winning doesn't always necessarily mean you're getting better. And that's a big one.
That's something I want to just add on to that sparks another thought, but something I've been thinking about recently is like, if you want to be uber successful, I'm just talking about in general, not for the listeners of this podcast, but if, let's say I do want to be uber successful, I realize that I also have to have the mindset that when I take advice from my mentors, I also have to consider the fact that they might also be wrong.
Yeah.
And some of the most creative geniuses and some of the biggest plays in history are by people who just like all they did was fully trust their gut, because the thing that they were doing, i.e. Tiger Woods, he's just like, you can't actually predict the future, but he just trusted. He's like, he trusted himself that much that he trusted himself to fail consistently for like up to 2 years.
Yeah.
And despite all the people that are closest to him, they're all like, don't do it. But somewhere in his head, he's like, well, you're not a fucking world champ. So then
you're not me.
And you're not me.
Yeah.
And you're not in this body. And so, but then I'm like, maybe I don't want to confuse the podcast too much, but maybe is that because he's got a level of arrogance? Is that also what you need?
For sure. Know? Yeah. And I think you do have to be. I think we all do.
Yeah.
But I guess what is arrogance in comparison to courage, right?
In fairness, like, no, I think you do need a bit of arrogance.
Well, the question still stands. Like, I think it's, the individual might be, if someone's upset by them and label them as arrogance, then is that the individual's being upset about that individual's courage and confidence?
Yeah, I suppose.
Like simply because someone says that, no, I'm not going to listen to you, does that mean they're arrogant?
Yeah, no, it's probably not as black and white as arrogant. You've probably got positive arrogance and negative arrogance.
Yeah, like or courage and confidence versus arrogance and naivety.
It is true. That's a deep. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but it is a very interesting rabbit hole to break down arrogance. Because, I've had people ask me, like, would you do it again? Would you, if you knew what you knew about the gym, would you do it again? And I'm like, yes, I would, because I wouldn't be here without it. But also, I'm like, if the main goal was to actually make money, which it's not, we actually could have made money faster in other avenues. You know, like if I actually knew how hard the gym was going to be. Like, if I knew how hard the gym was going to be before I started it, there's no way I would have done it. There's no way I would have committed. But because I was so naive at the time, I made a lot of big, risky decisions and big gambles that I wouldn't change those lessons for the world, you know? Yeah. But I also now, because I'm just not that naive anymore, I wouldn't make the same decisions again. I wouldn't just be as crazy as I was back then. But that's just part of the learning journey, I guess. Yeah, that's the point. Getting less crazy. Yeah, I think most of the time, or getting a little bit crazy. The victim versus creator mindset / open versus closed mind. That's pretty much the same thing. Do you have a particular word that you use rather than victim creator?
Yeah, I would say causation. What was it? I can't remember the technical term. It's like causation for something anyway, but it's the difference between saying this means this or you taking charge of it and turning it into what you want to make of it. But I would even just work off of whether you take ownership or not. You know what I mean? It's like just a level of whether you're victim or creator. I would say it's more so what level of ownership are you taking of what you can take ownership of, and being able to discern what is out of your control and what is in your control, and taking responsibility for that, taking ownership of that.
So just to get the listeners clear on this, what we're discussing right now is the victim versus creator mindset, or in a similar light, an open versus a closed mind. So to start off with, like, just give us a quick rundown of what a victim mindset might be like. What is a victim person? What does their actions look like?
No, well, normally the mindset is in words when they speak to themselves or others. It's this equals this, therefore this. It's I grew up drinking, so therefore I am a drinker. Or all my friends drink, so therefore I am drinking. Or whatever it is from that scale. That is normally the victim mindset. It's like they're giving the power to something external to themselves. The external reality has some sort of control over them, that they have no control of that. That's normally the victim mindset.
Another short-term example of that is like, oh, I couldn't actually do my meals today because the car broke down, or I didn't get to the gym today because we had an incident at work and it was really stressful, and then now I come home, I just wasn't in the mood. There's always and I actually do have one particular client in mind that I'm going through this with a lot. There always is a reason. There's always been a reason, and I've communicated to that person that they have also a habit of searching for reasons to. It's a self-sabotage habit. They're searching for reasons to be busy so that they have an excuse for not adhering to whatever the habit that was. But that is that is part of the victim mindset, is that everything external to them is in the way, and therefore they can't do the things they need to do. So to flip that, what would a more a creator mindset, or an ambitious or a driven mindset, or a responsible mindset, whatever word, what would that look more like?
The thing that comes to mind is the extreme ownership. It's like Jocko Willink style. For a lot of successful people, they take ownership even for the things that maybe they shouldn't, and I think that's also unhealthy, like I think there's definitely an edge, but most people that do find success, they do have that level of responsibility and ownership over themselves, that even if something happens external to themselves, they still find something within themselves and that day or their life that could have prevented that. So even if it was something like their car broke down, what could they have done differently 2 weeks ago, a month ago, that might have prevented that from happening? So this that extreme ownership. They just... nothing external to themselves, although it's reality, like, okay, that external factor does get in the way. Obviously, having your car breaking down sucks. That sucks for all of us. But the successful people, the people that aren't victimizing themselves surrounding that, they take power in what are they responsible for that could prevented that from ever occurring anyway. Whether that's possible or not. But they still try and find something that they could be responsible for.
Definitely. I love to hear that, and it's that's a foundational thing that we focus in on ourselves, and what we try and it's a harder mindset. I find you have to help someone like settle into that type of mindset.
It's a lot. It's
never an overnight thing. It's not just like stop being a victim, just be more of a creator, take more responsibility. It's never that. In order to take on some responsibility, you have to let go of some other part of your personality or your life in order to fit that responsibility in. And sometimes that's letting go. In my case, letting go of the fantasy that I can escape suffering. And I can escape challenge. It's letting go of that truth and be like, okay, no, I'm actually going to let go of that lie and just be like, suffering is a part of life. It doesn't have to be extreme suffering. It's just a level of challenge, and sometimes things are uncomfortable, and that's okay. Because by running away from it, it's making me more uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And then getting stuck there. So having that really open mind to also take extreme responsibility also means to have an open mind, because you're open to adapting to change, and learning more about yourself. Because otherwise, if you're a fixed mindset, that's how you get stuck in your ways. And if you're telling yourself you're doing things the best you can or the most efficient way, but actually you're not, you're never going to be able to expand and actually like become more efficient or get through something, So, another thing I've put down is goal focused and process driven. A lot of, we do need goals, we need a vision, we need a direction as well. However, the thing that many of the successful people find they derive more, I guess, motivation, inspiration from, and more fulfillment is doing the process and doing the journey, ticking off the daily things, being consistent, doing the simple things over and over and over again. Sometimes the hardest thing is to do the simplest things over and over and over and over again. The hardest thing is to choose to not do, the shiny object syndrome, which is what I was mentioning before. I've been guilty before, is that I've put a lot of energy and time into certain projects or certain ideas that I thought was going to help the business because I didn't take the time to think about how impactful that would actually be. Making what's another word for like not thinking things through, like just making a fast decision, making an uneducated guess. So falling in love with the process and being okay with the daily things, doing them over and over and over again, is a massive part of the super consistent and the people that are successful in their fitness, or just in life in general, but especially in the context of fitness and the lifestyle, is being very process driven as well.
They play an infinite game. Like, although they have an outcome that they're striving towards, they're also that outcome is chosen normally for the uber successful, as you said. So there's an outcome, but the outcome is derived from a deep sense of passion for that space. It's like us, we have a deep sense of passion for health and fitness, so we have health and fitness goals that are further and beyond what a normal average everyday person would have. It's just like they might have, someone might want to be a doctor, I don't want to be a doctor, but you got to find like what that passion is, have an outcome, but then just play the infinite game of that passion. Just explore it, like you mentioned, fall in love with the process, and that's why we normally recommend definitely finding a sport or some exercise that you enjoy doing. Because otherwise you're just not going to enjoy the process.
It's something that will challenge you as well. And give you something to tussle with and dance with, because that's when a lot of growth and a lot of learning comes from, which really leans into that, just that open, learning, curious style mindset. And the other thing is that people, they really embody, mentally and physically, they really embody their goals, they really embody the lifestyle, and they enjoy it. Like, they genuinely found a way to enjoy it, and they've really designed their healthy and fitness lifestyle in a way that complements how they feel, rather than feels like a grind that they have to stick to this meal plan and they have to stick to this nutrition. It's like, no, they want to. They have to because they want to. They've found that inner motivation, which we all have. Everybody's body has that inner motivation to be nourished and to move and to feel good. We just have to find ways to feel that and allow ourselves to feel that. So as a recap, just as the general attitude mindset that these people have is they've got the learning mindset. They're very driven by the curiosity and wanting to understand things. They eat for nourishment and they eat for understanding, and they train for nourishment. They train for understanding, and they're trying to gain experience. They know that I'm doing this because I'm here to learn. I'm here to understand, because if I'm going to do things intentionally, like if I'm going to train intentionally and eat intentionally, I need to know why. And the only way you know why is by having those experiences and experiments. And that's why we touched base before, why it's good to just try carnivore, like what Nab was talking about, just for the sake of understanding. Like, before you have an opinion on a carnivore, just do it. Do it for 30 days, do it for 90 days, see how you feel, how you respond, and that gives you a lot of feedback on how your body works and just how humans work, and that'd be very interesting. So I've done it a lot, and I will continue to do a lot. Just keep experimenting, keep playing with things, and that is the only way to really become really fit. Also, there's always metaphors for life. I just keep wanting to say metaphor for life. Just stay curious. Now, lastly, let's just touch base on the world of the elite. The things that we see a lot that we also don't need to do, but also acknowledge that they are fucking cool. Because these people do inspire us. We're talking about the elite, the top 1% of people that sometimes we've got posters of them on our walls, or we've got we follow them on Instagram and social media, and we love their stuff. It's important to discuss the differences with these people, as it's so easy for us to actually glorify them to the point that it can often distract us or confuse us. We can also often get disheartened because they are so elite. We want to be like them, but often their habits are not the same as ours. We're going to discuss which are the same and which are not. Now, the first thing I want to say is someone who also somewhat identifies as, I wouldn't call myself an elite athlete, but I have my elite moments, but I'm definitely up there. And people always sometimes like they give me like a disheartened comment. They give me a compliment, but they're saying it from a disheartened place that they're like, I'll never be as fit as you. And I keep reminding them, like, you have to remember that I quit my fucking day job to be in the fitness world. Like sport, health and fitness, that is my genuine calling. That's the industry I want to be in. And for people that, a lot of the people that we want to aspire to be like, they're like that because they're full time. They just they've found a way to make their income or their careers to be in that passion, in that industry, in that thing, so that they can become even extra good at it. So you also have to remember that there is a bit of a time allocation between the things that in some people are so experienced that you actually won't be as good as them.
It's like the 10,000 hours thing, right?
Exactly right.
But these people have done 10,000 hours.
They've literally done their 10,000 hours, and
no one does 10,000 hours unless there's like a gun to the head, or
unless they want
really
to.
Strong parents that force them to do it.
Just hit it with a ruler.
Every lap.
Yeah. So that's a really big thing that I wanted to touch base on, is that these people are very passionate about what they do, and their full-time schedule is legitimately to just go crush their training or crush their skill or what their profession is. What about an athlete? What's an athlete's mindset look like, especially the top of the top?
Yeah, so I'm going to start off with the Japanese Kaizen thing. That came in the diary of a CEO as well, but really hit home for me. I've understood the Kaizen philosophy for a while, but the Kaizen philosophy is small, incremental, consistent improvements. That's the whole Kaizen philosophy, and he talks about it in regards to Tiger Woods. They would record every single swinging session, had to swing. It was a crazy amount nearly every single day to just correct his swing, and they'll record it, make slight adjustments, and that went on for quite a minimum of 18 months to even just get into the point of being successful as he was prior to making that change. And then he uses also Toyota as an example because they are a Japanese brand, and then they created a Kaizen philosophy and system surrounding the Kaizen philosophy where all employees had to provide a small recommendation or a week for change within the business. And they took over like a General Motors sort of warehouse. They did a collab together, and the only change they made is they shut down the warehouse originally, and then they helped General Motors by introducing purely just the philosophy of Kaizen, of small incremental changes, sweating the small stuff, and that then the success of, I can't remember the numbers, but it was crazy success. It was like extremely extremely successful. But it is the successful people. These are the 1%, and it's because they do sweat the small stuff. They do sweat the 1% things. They've already achieved a great foundation in their movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress, that now they're looking at the one small percentile things that will make the big change. And that's what the elite do.
Yeah, and that is a great thing to add on to, is that what Nav just talked about can be perceived often and is borderline OCD. For people to be the elite of the elite, especially Nav and I, we love UFC and we love fighting. And some of these guys that are sitting at the top, there is that much pressure at the top that they actually thrive off that, and they thrive off that stress. And even what I talked about to Nav recently is like, personally, I don't want that stress. I actually wouldn't want to be. That's why I never became a fighter, because I'm not actually attracted to sitting at the top of the rung and having everyone just like waking up every day knowing that I'm getting headhunted. Like, that's just not pressure that I would want to handle. But there are people that actually also wouldn't want to handle that pressure, but think they do, and they still aspire to want to be like these people at the top of the top. And again, everyone's journey is for themselves. But again, what I'm getting at is that our initial inspirations to be like some people is sometimes their curses are also their talents. The people, many soccer players are very similar. They're very OCD about their technique, but they're spending just the hours and the hours training, and that's what gets them their pro contracts, is because whilst everyone's out enjoying themselves, they're still training. And whilst everyone's like, they're always the first to arrive to the training session, the last to leave. Those habits are fine if you want to be elite, and they do help you get elite, but people just have to be clear on, are they willing to live like that in order to get that result? Is that something that they actually enjoy as well? People also have to get clear on where their drive comes from, which is, I basically just touched base on that. But I have an example of Mike Tyson and Deontay Wilder. They're too big. I think Deontay's a heavyweight.
Yep.
Did he get a world champ? Was he world champ at one point? Or was he almost? He was one of the top three.
There's so many different divisions. So he was like world champ of some divisions.
Yeah, he was world champ of something. But basically, he's a savage boxer. And there's been hey?
Keep going.
You savage? Yeah.
No, it was not divisions, like federations. But not that it really matters. It just annoyed me that I said divisions, but it was not.
Oh, okay.
Like
federations.
Boxing federations.
Boxing federations.
Anyway.
So, Deontay Wilder is apparently he has recently come out and said he's done ayahuasca. And that is just a plant medicine, a massive, just a psychedelic, effectively, that facilitates often a lot of deep healing in our hearts and our minds. And he has kind of lost his fire, and he seems to be questioning whether he just wants to be. I think he lost his most recent fight, and that's why it came out that he just lost the savageness. But as far as his own emotional healing was, that's what he needed. And so he was living with that demon up until to get to that world champ status, and a lot of people questioning his future now because he is actually quote unquote happier. Same thing with Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson was the most vicious person when he was young, but it's because he was angry and he was just so unhappy about his living situation, and he was fueled by that hate and fueled by that fire. And I resonate with that. That was the motivation for me to quit my job and chase my dreams, is actually through anger and not feeling like I was fitting in, and not being happy with my general situation. So a lot of these elite things or big things that people have done have also come from a negative place. Also, it's produced a positive result, so you have to accept that, and I'm happy where I am. But again, just wanted to make sure that people are understanding that also big goals come with big trade-offs and big costs sometimes.
Yeah.
Is there anything you wanted to add to that before we wrap up?
I think I just want to sign off on the infinite game. I did write Alex Hormozy here because he talks about it and using someone outside of health and fitness, although he did come from the health and fitness space, but like a lot of people that were coaches or in the health and fitness space that then transcended out of that space into success in business or other sort of coaching, they use similar philosophies of constant progression, just I guess like the Kaizen, but it is playing the infinite game. So finding a game that you want to play forever, and especially with health and fitness, in reality, we should all be playing a game of well-being no matter what. In that if we're living this one life, we know that we live with this mind and body, and that the quality of life is determined by our health and our well-being, then every individual should be at least playing the foundational infinite game of health and well-being. And that comes with sets of habits and mindsets and thought patterns that you have to have every single day, infinitely to the day you die. And then wherever you want to take it from there. Like if you want to be an elite athlete, or you want to do a sport of any sort, just even recreationally, you might need to put more intention into those habits. But the infinite game. Yeah, no, I love that. I do love the infinite game philosophy, and it works really well. It's what we do. Yeah, you know, that's my thing that I've been saying to myself is like, when things get tough, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like just not feeling that motivated. I'm like, no, we're going to train because it's what we do. It's what we exist. I don't need a running race because that's not my reason to train. That's not my why. A big part of my why is like, this is what we do. This is it. I'm going to reset the camera once more, and then we're going to roll into our mystery items. Beautiful. Sounds good. All right. Yeah.
It's ace and shade in the cup, motherfucker.
All right. Be back in a second. All right. We're back again. We also found out, listen to this.
Oxymorons, motherfucker.
Anyway, there's a few swear words that come after that. But whoever's been recording on this prior, I wonder if it were those people that were.
It could be.
Yeah. Sounded a little bit like. Anyway. So, we're back. We're going to finish off on our mystery items. And Nav, what's your mystery item?
Take a guess.
Take a guess. It's nothing. That's on your phone.
That's my kombucha.
Oh, it's a kombucha. How did I not even guess?
I can't believe I got you on that. I was like, surely he will get that.
I was wondering why that was there. I was like, fuck. I just thought you just felt like drinking kombucha on the.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
So it kind of happened two in one, but I've got my kombucha here. It's the brand Remedy, which is one of my favorites, but I have multiple different brands. But I did just grab it because I was drinking it, because I was eating my steak and my eggs on the way here in the car. And kombucha is just my favorite drink. And it's like my one treat to myself every single day, especially during the carnivore diet. It's been a lifesaver in just providing some sort of like different flavor and carbonation and naughty of me. Look at that, 0 calorie drink. But I've been a fan of kombucha for years now. I've been having it for a very long time. It's getting so popular now that there's so many different brands and flavors, so it's fun. But yeah, I just brought kombucha because I had this conversation with a lot of people actually. People are trying to find a alternative drink, but they don't like diet sodas or they don't want any sugar drinks at all. And we always normally recommend don't drink calories unless it's an intentional smoothie or shake or what have you. But I normally recommend kombucha to a lot of my clients. A lot of people love it as well. And it's just a nice little sweet drink.
Sick.
Yeah.
Rate it.
Yeah.
I love kombucha.
And it's just fermented tea if people aren't aware of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dope shit is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could drink that a lot actually.
Yeah. Every single day I have some. Nearly every day, but
I'm not that hectic. I'm not an addict.
Yeah.
True addict.
And what about you? What's your secret item?
My mystery item is
Mystery item. It's a bag.
It's just a bag. I just had this bag in my car. It's actually my anatomy books.
Oh, nice.
Yay, woo. So this is my body reading, visual assessment, and the anatomy trains. This is Slings Essential, a movement concept for somatic ease, inner strength, and radiant vitality. And then Anatomy Trains in Motion, a movement-minded exploration of the myofascial meridian body map. Whew. So, for context, Nav and I we've touched on these in the past. You may have mentioned us on the podcast. We've talked about more on the training aspect is maybe fascial lines or movement or global movement or patterns integrating movement. The thing that Nav and I have become very passionate about is posture and the link between biomechanics and our psychological state, and it really is the foundation of all psychological healing and also all performance, which includes fat loss and muscle gain and all these basic things. And so they're not basic, they are just all more standard goals than the other goals that we come across. But studying the fascial lines, the work of Tom Myers, the anatomy trained stuff is something that's it's complicated, but Nav and I are doing exactly using the successful people mindset. It's just being like, okay, it's going to take some time, sweat the small stuff, focus on it, be patient with it. And we've just been toying with it lately. And we've been fiddling with this stuff for the last like 3 or 4 years now, but we've now been more formally studying it as of this year. So we're going to get both our certs this year, but it's just... coming back from the workshop on the weekend just kind of has reignited my my reasoning of like why things are so important to me with my training and what I'm actually here, and it's given me a lot of excitement with my longevity of my career in the fitness industry of just learning anatomy to a really great degree. And again is that there needs to be more of an emphasis on posture in training, and there needs to be more of an emphasis on mood. And maybe I'm the person that will do that as far as my online brand building is bringing awareness to the fact that our posture and our mood is the thing that really dictates all of our biomechanical health and therefore our well-being. And so it really is a massive functional link, and that's just a massive focal point of mine. That's what's my I was going to say topic of the day. My mystery item. It's my mystery item because, it's that general curiosity is I am being a beginner with the anatomy trained stuff because I know I'm going to be an expert, and I want you guys to consider you're in a similar space where you are in more of the beginner space. But if you take the same mindset that I'm having with my journeys, you'll be in a very similar space in the next couple of years and be borderline an expert. So, fucking boom, mic drop. Yeah, we go. Woo,
It's ace and shade in the
Oh,
I've got
yeah,
OTI.
There we go. Sorry, I just got a bit crazy on the decks. That's it.
Sweet.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Yes.
I don't know what episode 19 is going to be, but we're fucking smashing these podcasts out now. We're getting close
how
to 2
crazy.
years.
I think I even mentioned it in the last podcast, but was it only the top 1% podcasters in the world have only done 21 podcasts?
There we go.
So
we're getting close.
Nearly top 1%.
And we're just chipping away at this. We're loving doing the podcast, and we're not putting pressure on ourselves to have like thousands of followers or millions of followers. Like, it is what it is, and we're just getting there. We will have thousands. We're on track.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Adios, amigos. Thank you very much. Health and happiness, and see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Ooh, yeah, boo.
Nighttime, sleep time. Oh, I thought you were pressing.